there still are some big names on the free agent market that, positions of need for the Jets that the Jets still need help in. Is it the safety room? Is it interior offensive line? And is it even adding some more security in the wide receiver room? That and much more in today's version of NY Jets Talk. Let's roll.
Jets, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
What is going on, New York Jet fans? Good to see everyone here on a Monday evening edition of NY Flight Jets Talk. Yesterday, if you guys missed it, it was a quite eventful day. For show number one, we had Antoine Staley of the New York Daily News join the show. You guys really liked that. I think it got like 700 views overnight. Shows you liked Antoine. Antoine's a great guy. We're going to work to get something weekly going over the summer with Antoine, but second show was very eventful. The first 30 minutes, it was just me, and then Brandon Pockris joined me, and then the wonderful Jake Asman also joined me, and then also just a very eventful show. So definitely, when you're done watching over here, I 100% recommend and check both shows out from yesterday. Personally, yesterday was probably one of the most fun days I've had at broadcasting, doing this podcast with you guys, and really appreciate all the support you guys have given me, and I would not be here without you guys, so thank you so much. It really means a lot. But let's say what's up to everyone in the chat before we dive in to the free agent talk. Johnny, what's up, my man? Good to see you. Bobby, good to see you, Bobby. You are awesome, along with Johnny. Bobby and Johnny are both legends. Love to see both you guys in the chat. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, what's up, my man? Dano, there we go. Dano, good to see you, my man. So what's up to everyone in the chat? Obviously, you guys know. My bad. Let me grab some water real quick. There we go. You guys know the drill. Just type your questions in the chat, and I will answer them as soon as possible. But first, we're gonna dive right in to some talk about the free agents that have been lingering on the market. Names that I think the Jets should be interested in, as they still have some areas of need, I'd say, going into 2024. Post June 1 now, and these names are still lingering on the market. We're going to start with the offensive line. Nick Gates, interior offensive lineman guard, specifically, who played for the Giants for a little, and he was recently in March, I think it was March or May. He was released by the Commanders, and he's available. He's a name to look out for because I think Connor McGovern. I think the Jets will get McGovern back, but also after resigning McGovern, I still think they need more help on the interior O-line. So I think bringing in an extra piece, obviously we all saw what can possibly go wrong last year with this offensive line. As you know, most different combinations in the NFL. And I'd rather he's a cheaper option. Go and ensure a spot. Ensure that if a guy like please never happen, but if a guy like a Tippmann goes down, you're prepared for injuries. And even, I do like McGovern, but again, I want another veteran with McGovern in that room. I want, like I said, ensure as many possible spots as you can on this New York Jets roster. So that's why I think Nick Gates will be an option. I think he's a solid guy. Prepare for backups. You have guys like him. If our backups could look like Schweitzer, him, McGovern, I think that I really like that. So that's why I want to ensure a spot like with a guy like Nick Gates and just build up for expect everything to go wrong. I don't want anything to go wrong, but it's build up for everything to go wrong. So, if things do go wrong, we've ensured that spot on the roster. Moving over to, another player that I think the Jets should look into is wide receiver Hunter Renfrow, who most recently played for the Las Vegas Raiders. Renfrow's an interesting name, and so is the wide receiver position. You look at the Jets wide receiver room. We have Garrett Wilson, and it's his room. For me, it's his room. And then after him, you have a guy like Mike Williams, who I think is a very solid piece, but will he be ready to go, healthy, week 1 of the NFL season, in the beginning of the season? That's a huge question mark. Malachi Corley, question mark. How will they work him in? Xavier Gibson, question mark. Jason Brownlee, question mark. Alan Lazard is a huge question mark, as he has not looked good in OTAs. I think one of the worst contracts in recently for the Jets, and we saw what happened last year with Alan Lazard. So I wanna ensure the wide receiver room. Renfro, I think, would be a bit of a not a cheaper option, but definitely affordable. He in 2021, I think it was, he was in let me just double no, yeah, 2021, he was in 1,000-yard receiver with 9 touchdowns. This year, he had 25 receptions for 255 yards, and he did not have a touchdown. But again, this just brings in another piece for training camp. You know, I want competition. I want competition. I really want Brownlee and Gibson and Malachi too to be worked into this offense. Williams is healthy for week 1. But if Williams is not healthy for week 1 and Malachi Corley a question mark and Alan Lazard question mark, rest of the wide receiver room, I want someone who's an 1,000-yard receiver who can come in and hopefully chip away, and give him an opportunity. If you don't like him, you can always cut him. Just give him there's no such thing. Sign him to a 1-year deal. There is no such thing as a bad 1-year deal. So it literally cannot hurt by signing him to a 1-year deal. It can't theoretically it can hurt, but a 1-year deal. It's really not. There's no such thing as a really, really, really bad 1-year deal. So I think Renfro and some other names in the wide receiver room are guys to target. And this one is a name I've been very vocal on, and the fact he's still lingering in me is wild. And the fact I don't know if the Jets have attempted to God, but it's probably the biggest name out of the market right now is Justin Simmons, who was cut by the Denver Broncos. And the Jets safety room, I'm in between on it. I don't think there are any star players, but I think it's like an average room. Chuck Clark, Tony Adams, Jared Bernard-Converse, and Ashton Davis. You add a guy like a Justin Simmons, a ball hawk. You add a guy like a Justin Simmons who is a ball hawk, and I have a whole different point of view on the safety room. I mean, bring him in and pair him with a young stud like Tony Adams. I think the room's looking really nice. And again, ensuring another spot in the secondary. I think a Super Bowl winning team does not have Chuck Clark as a starting safety. I think a Super Bowl winning team has Chuck Clark coming in for an injury. I love that Clark was back. I wanted Clark to be back. But like I said, a Super Bowl winning team has a guy like Simmons starting in a safety role. So that's my stance on the top 3 guys. I hope you guys agreed. If not, definitely type in the chat. I always love a nice debate with you guys. But we do have a question. Let me get to it from some computer's lagging, but here we go. Dano. The only problem is when penciling out a 53, there's really not many spots left for three extra depth pieces, unless they're practice squad eligible. So the ones that we nab got to be worthy of 53. Yeah, I think Gates is worthy of 53. I think all 3 of those guys are worthy of 53. I really do. I'd take Renfro over some of those guys in the receiving room. I think Simmons would be the clear-cut number 1 safety, and Nick Gates he'd probably have to battle. He'd probably have to battle for a spot on the 53. But if we sign him to a practice squad eligible deal, again, it cannot hurt. But guys, we do have a caller on the line, so we're gonna go right over to him. We have the one, the only Bobby Midnight joining the show. Bobby, how you doing today?
Hey, great, Connor. You doing great. I think I agree with your takes all the way. I think
Thank you.
you do before you go on your show, I think you do a lot of studying of what you're gonna say.
Thank
Because
you.
I didn't even think of Nick Gates. He used to play for my smelly Giants.
Did play for the Giants, yes.
Yes, I remember him. He was pretty good, but I think now he's getting older. He should be
Yeah, he had a
back.
bad knee injury. But if
Yes,
we
yeah.
like Dano mentioned, if he's practice squad eligible, it can't hurt. But the only
No,
thing is, I don't want to be. That was a great thing to mention by Dano. I
yeah.
don't want to carry a guy like him on the 53 man 100% just because.
No,
Let's
put him on the practice squad, you said. That was
Put him on the practice squad, and if he gets snapped by another team, he gets snapped by another team. But
yeah.
can't hurt
And
to
then
sign.
Hunter Renfro was good too. Didn't he play for the Patriots too? I think.
No,
Oh, I thought he
Renfro,
played.
Renfro did not play for the Patriots.
I
Let's see.
thought he did at one time. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought.
I think you're thinking of another Speedy. I think. Are you thinking of Chris? Wait, Hunter Renfro. Did he?
I positive. I remember seeing him on the Smelly
Hmm.
Patriots. Some said it's
No, Renfro did
Um,
not play for the Patriots.
Oh, he didn't. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of a different player. What was the last guy? Oh, yeah, the safety guy. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Bobby, we have another caller that we'll bring on with you too. We have Johnny
Oh,
joining
yeah.
the show. Johnny, how you doing?
Johnny, how you
What
doing?
up, Bobby? What up, Connor?
Hey,
I
Johnny,
am
how you
so
doing? Long
tired
time no
tonight,
see.
Johnny. Johnny, I can't do his show today. I'm tired.
Get some
Doing
rest,
it
Bobby. All
tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow after Jake's show.
right, that's cool. I'm with it.
I just wanted to say.
Hey, I wanted to talk a little bit in regards to what you're saying, man. With the first and foremost, bro, keep doing your thing, dude. You're doing great.
Thank you.
So here I'm excited for you and the pairing with Boy Green and all that. Yeah.
I got
And the
Poppers
other guy,
too, and I'm working with Antoine. We're trying to get
well, it's
Antoine.
great. Well, you said the other guy too from Daily News.
Yeah, Antoine. We're trying to get Antoine. But guys, we have another caller too. So why not how about we do a little four-way kind of chat here?
I bet
Ricky
they
and
know,
I.
right?
Ricky, no, Ricky and I. Ricky, how you
What's up,
doing?
Ricky?
How's the recovery going?
Ricky, my friend.
What's happening, guys? Connor, good to catch you live. It's been
Yeah.
it's been a minute. My schedule is rough. Like I'm not usually around when you're on.
Yeah.
Like I'm usually either at work or asleep or. And Bobby, apologize. I tried to get on from work the other night, but it just wasn't happening. Couldn't do it. But even if I had got on, that place is so loud with all the machines running, you would have never heard me, and I couldn't hear
Oh,
you
you
guys.
work at a machine shop. Oh.
Yeah, I work in a big plant, and with all the machines running, like I tried the Dano show, I tried the Midnight Mike show, I've just given up on trying to do the YouTube shows at work. It just doesn't work.
No, that's true. You're right. You gotta.
How's your recovery been, Ricky?
I'm doing better. I mean, it wasn't anything, major. I apparently I was just severely dehydrated. Like, I did not know dehydration could be like so bad. Like it was so bad that when I went to the hospital and they went to take my blood, they couldn't get blood, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm so dehydrated that I don't have blood.
Wow.
And the lady's like, oh, you have it. It's just when you're that dehydrated.
Yep.
I guess your blood vessels constrict and they just, and it's there, but it just won't come out. Like, it was crazy. Like, some of the symptoms I had, like, my wife thought I was having like a stroke or something, but it just all came back to dehydration. So,
I'm happy you're better.
But at least it's an easy fix. So,
yeah.
Hey, Connor, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
How many subscribers do you have now? Did you jump?
So I gained a really good amount. These last 2 nights, I think I'm sitting at 682.
Very
right
good. I'm proud of you. See, we're trying to get you there. We get it to you 1,000. Trust me, we're going to get you there.
Yeah. So let's come back to some Jet stuff. We're gonna go one by one. We're gonna go. Bobby, I already asked you some of these questions.
Yeah,
Johnny,
no problem.
and then Ricky. So Johnny, I don't think I've talked to you. I've been very vocal on this situation with the running back depth. Ever since Tariq Cohen has been signed, I've been very concerned about Izzy, getting a roster spot for 2024. Where do you see him falling? Do you see him on the roster? And then also, what are your thoughts on some of those free agents that I named? Could you see them in the green and white?
Yeah, so I think for myself, I've been kind of talking a lot about Izzy in regards that I think he's going to make his calling within the special teams itself. So I think he's going to go over there. I think Gibson is going to be more of our slot guy, wide receiver within Corley and splitting some of the reps through there. But I don't. Gibson last year, he scared me a lot because if you noticed, he did bobble a lot of the balls, and some of the times, man, he would do some stuff that I was like, oh man, this is not good. So the way the brand new kickoff rule is starting to happen and everything with the two guys and all that, that stuff is changing, man. So I'm intrigued to see that. I don't want any free agent that's out there right now, to be honest with you. I'm one of the guys that's very happy on what we have, right? Because I mean, our safety room, I think our safety room is good. I think Clark is going to show, because they were high on Clark last year,
Yep, I like
pre-injury, you know. Now, if Simmons could come on over on a cheap JD 1-year deal, maybe we could entertain it, but I don't know. You know, I mean, what would it take? You know, I always wonder about these free agents that are let go by the other team that are such studs. What's the reasoning behind it? Why? And then the depth within the running back, bro. I was on, shout out to the Brody Dano, because I was on Dano's stream when he was doing the draft party, right? And he wanted Isaiah Grindo, whatever his name is, really bad as well, right? And
Oh yeah.
but then we ended up getting Braylon Allen and then Davis. And when you started seeing the tapes on these guys, the stories behind it, you're like, damn, you know. So I don't know, man. It's we're in a position that we haven't been in a very long time, to where we have so many great depth pieces right now that we're gonna let go of some of these players and they're gonna go to other teams to start over there, right on there. And we haven't had this. It hasn't happened to us in a long time. So we're like not knowing what to do, what to juggle with and whatnot. So yeah, that's my take on all that, man. So hopefully it wasn't too long of a rant.
Yeah, let me just Oh, you're all good. Before I go over to you, Ricky, I just wanted to touch on one thing you said with the depth of them being starters. I 100% agree, and that's something that I've mentioned multiple times. Like a Super Bowl winning team, an AFC championship caliber winning team has depth pieces. They don't that's my whole thing with I really want to sign a guy like Justin Simmons. Like a Super Bowl winning team does have a guy like Chuck Clark coming off the bench in week 14 for an injury. A Super Bowl winning team does not have a guy like him starting. I do like him, but I would if we can get Simmons, I would be like the happiest man ever. I love Simmons. He's been a name that I've wanted to target for so long. So yeah, I definitely agree with that depth, but I've been very vocal. I really don't think Izzy's going to be on the roster. I really don't. I think maybe they hold him on a practice squad spot and maybe another team picks him up, but I can't see him being active. But let's go over to Ricky. Ricky, what are your thoughts on this free agent situation kind of with the players I mentioned and then the running back room? You got me?
Well, the running back room it's going to be curious, and as far as who makes the team, and is he? The name says it all. Is he going to make the team?
Mm-hmm.
Is he not? I guess we're going to find out. As far as the free agents, I agree with Johnny. About. If the guys are so good, why did the other team let them go? But I mean, you know what? If you look at, well, I guess it's not real recent Jets history, but Jets history, Thomas Jones was like that. He got let go by the Bears. He got let go by the Bucks, and he came here and he kicked ass. So he was really good. But I mean, in all fairness, I mean, Chuck Clark kind of fits that description, Yeah. He was a decent player in Baltimore, but then they're going out and using a high draft pick on Kyle Hamilton, and so I mean, obviously the Ravens weren't all that high on him or thought he was expendable. I just don't, I guess I'm undecided on Clark because I just haven't seen him with our team and seeing how he fits with our scheme. I'm hoping that, he returns to form and he's like his old self. But as far as the free agents that are out there, like I had heard early on that there was some interest with the Jets for Quandre Diggs. And watching him and DJ Reed interact on Twitter, like I really, really thought there was something to it. Which I mean, they're former teammates, and they're that's DJ's boy. But then it just all kind of died off. But
Yep.
that's the one guy that kind of intrigues me. That I think that Justin Simmons, he's was holding out for the big payday, and it never really came. But you know what? I think that's going to end up being like the Dalvin Cook situation with us last year, where we decided to overpay and like, even though he might not be getting the big deal that he wants, somebody's probably going to end up overpaying. So as far as the guys that are out there, Diggs is the guy that I see as being a more realistic option. But honestly, I don't think the Jets are going to do anything. Like I've been in this mode before with JD where I'm thinking, one more free agent because I'm all carried away, and then it just doesn't happen. When the Jets tell you like we're happy with the guys that we have, like they're not bullshitting. I mean, I believe them. I think we're going to probably stand pat with what we got.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets just stood pat where we are. But you mentioned but some of the standing pat, I agree. A name that was a draft pick by the Jets in the 3rd round was Malachi Corley. He's unsigned by the Jets right now. I do think 100% they will get the deal done as he's been at OTAs. Who do you think is going to be like a dark horse kind of in this wide receiver room? I know there's a lot of names, whether it's Corley, Brownlee, or Gibson. Who do you think is going to stand out the most? Let's go over to Johnny first.
I've been saying Irv Charles. I've been
Irv.
saying Irv Charles because second year now, 3rd year in there, right? Big body. He's the reasoning why I think Lazard gets cut. I know I sound nuts. I know it sounds crazy, right, for me to say that, but I know the cap hit that we would take in regards of that. But again, I can't look. Lazard was supposed to be wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. He was never supposed to be our second wide receiver, right?
We don't want to get in that position, yeah.
I can't wrap my head around a guy that was giving up on routes, that was giving up on blocks. That to me, you just don't do that. You're a professional, man. Dude, that would be like myself or Ricky, right, at our jobs saying, you know what, because my fucking boss is not, my bad for cursing. Because my boss is not here, right, I'm not gonna do what I need to go ahead and get done. Dude, we would get tossed with the quickness. So why is this guy getting a pass on there? I mean, dude, there was so many things, man. I just can't. And I honestly, I feel like he's gonna get cut. I've never heard Saleh say and be like, a guy lost his edge. For somebody to say that, another grown man to be like, you've lost your edge. That's crazy to me. You don't say that about a guy, man. And I know if Dano's up here, he could bring up the cap numbers and everything, right? And I know he's probably like, Johnny, what are you doing? We're gonna get hurt with the cap and the whole 9. Because I mean, he's a stat guy. He's really good at it. And I just cut your ties, man. If this team is a team that is wanting to go far and all that, I know he's Aaron's guy and all that, but what kind of image are you giving to the young guys that are coming in right now? To the Irv Charles, Malik Taylor's still in there. Malik Taylor's another player that is really buddy with Aaron, and you saw what he did with Zach Wilson. So again, Irv Charles, man, it's my dark horse, dude. And look, and I've been saying it. I was pounding the table for Malachi Corley. I still can't believe we got him where we got him and where he fell and whatnot, right? He's going to be Rookie of the Year. I've been saying it. Watch. The guy's going to be Rookie of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I definitely think Corley has that potential, but I do think he's a question mark. Because we don't know what to expect of him. He could play special teams. The question for me is, how is he going to get involved in this offense? And I just wanted to mention something that you said, Johnny, about Saleh saying Lazard lost his edge. Saleh said that, and that's crazy, like you said, for a grown man to say that to another grown man. but Saleh is normally not one to call out players. Like Saleh is normally like a moderate kind of head coach. He's normally kind of hands off, especially on the offense. Especially on the offense, he's normally hands off. Defense, he kind of applies his knowledge more there. But it's not like he's a coach known for calling players out. Like he always is a guy trying to pick on players and call them out. He always defends his players. He never would do something like that. So that's something really interesting that he did. And I agree with the wide receiver 3 or 4. And I think Irv Charles is going to be. I think they like him on special teams a lot. You saw that play in the Broncos game when Morstead hit it, punted it, and then Eguavoen and Charles were down there. Charles forces the fumble. So, I definitely think he does have potential. I can expect him to kind of start more in a smaller special teams role and then kind of have to work his way up if he really wants to get involved in this offense. And Malik Taylor, he looked fine in the preseason. And then when they put him in the Giants game, he looked fine. So there are a lot of names in this receiver room, but Ricky, I'm going to throw it over to you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Corley, because of where we drafted him, I wouldn't really put him in that dark horse category because, I mean, a dark horse is someone we don't expect to do anything. Corley, we do expect to do something. Gibson, so far, what I've seen from OTAs, they've been using him a lot in motion, and it seems like they're finding a lot of ways to get him involved. So I wouldn't really put him in that dark horse mold necessarily, but his name slipped my mind for whatever reason. I had to look it up, but then Johnny said it while I was looking it up anyway. Malik Taylor would be my dark horse pick. I mean, we saw a very small sample size, but he had that nice catch in the Giants game. I don't think he was available for us as much last year, but he would be the one that I'm most intrigued to really see what happens. I think if there's a real true dark horse candidate in that room, that's who it would be. And I'm curious to see, what happens with him this year.
Yeah, I think Malik Taylor is a very interesting name. Again, a guy, back to what Johnny's mentioned about the depth. He is not a guy I want to rely on. He's one of those guys like a dark horse, someone you don't anticipate on doing anything, and anything he gives you is a bonus because you're not exactly anticipating it. But if he gives you any production this year, I really do think it'll be a win. So I agree, respect both of your opinions, but another position on the offense that's a huge question mark is the tight end room. How will they get Jeremy Ruckert involved in his this year? They have Tyler Conklin, who I think is a really, really solid pass catcher. I'm a big fan of Conklin. They also have Kenny Yeboah, who has looked great in OTAs. And then the other name is Zach Kuntz, 7th-round pick out of Old Dominion in the 2023 NFL Draft. Could you see him cracking the 53-man roster? Johnny, I'm going to swing it over to you. What do you think this tight end combination is going to look like?
So I've been huge about Kuntz. So first off, right, shout out to ODU Monarchs. That's my alma mater right over there, right? So that's what I went to school. So I saw Kuntz play, and anytime that kid got that ball in his hand, he was scoring. I remember there was a play that I think they were playing against like Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken, right? They're in the Sun Belt Conference. And the quarterback just tossed it out, dude. And dude just like mossed it between 3 defenders. It was the craziest thing I've seen, like in person like that, right? He's a freak, man. Aaron Rodgers saying what he said about Kuntz without having to be even asked about him, to say the connection that I'm having with Kuntz, there's a reasoning behind it, right? Kenny Yeboah, how long has Kenny Yeboah been there already?
Forever.
He does the same stuff every single time during the OTAs and the whole 9, right? Now, Jeremy Ruckert, he's a baller. He's a dog, man. But what are they going to do with him, man? A lot of the talk has been converting him into that fullback position and Nick Baldwin being gone, right? That's something else. And then Tyler Conklin, right? I think Conklin's gonna have a massive year, man. That dude is. We are undervaluing that guy. We're underappreciating him, man. The stuff that he's done. There was times when he was like, I don't even know how to like talk about it, but the way he would switch his damn body in midair to catch a lot of these horrible
Bigger guy.
balls,
It's a bigger guy too.
doing what he was doing, right, with Zach Wilson. Can you imagine with a ball-friendly quarterback like Aaron Rodgers that's going to be throwing the ball now? I mean, again, it's tough. And I did want to say one thing real quick, if you don't mind, right? Peep this out. What the whole like new thing that's been happening is a lot of these like running back / wide receivers that are converting positions. What about Izzy converting into some type of like wide receiver jet sweep motion type of thing? Like you were just saying, Ricky, he's fast, man. He's a shifty dude. I could see that happening. Again, there's just so much stuff that's going on. I think we have all the players in play that I don't think we need anything out. Maybe the line. I would love for us to bring back Connor McGovern.
Can I get another pizza?
So that I think that's a position that we need to, because do we trust Wes Schweitzer to go after Tittman? So yeah, that's my take. I'm sorry, Connor, again.
Oh no, all good, all good. Take your time. Yeah, I want McGovern back, and I don't see why the Jets cannot get McGovern back. It's not like he's this expensive player. He's what I'd classify as cheap depth. I like him. He's cheap, and I think the Jets need to bring him back. I think Schweitzer is fine, but I want to secure another spot behind Schweitzer. And also, I think Nick Gates is a solid option who's out there too. But I definitely agree with everything you're saying. Ricky hit it.
Real quick before I get into the tight ends and stuff, I wanted to go back to what Johnny was saying earlier about Lazard. Like, aside from Mecole Hardman giving up our game plans, Lazard did the worst thing to me as a fan that you could possibly do. He quit on this team. And I'm sorry, but if the guys on our defense with no help from the offense can go out there for 2 years in a row and gut it out every single week and not give up, what is this guy's excuse? I mean, and you're right. Saleh doesn't usually. Now, Saleh does call guys out. He just doesn't do it in public. So for him to do it in public, that says a lot. That says a lot. Now, going back to the current topic, which I'm actually gonna sit down and shoot a video later, and that's one of the things I'm gonna talk about. Saying like maybe converting Izzy to a receiver, man, that just gave me like shades of Danny Woodhead, years ago. Remember when we tried that with him? Man, I love Woodhead. Like a guy my size that just would go out there and give it every week. Awesome. But dude, Conklin's going to have a huge year. I am a huge Tyler Conklin guy. Always have been from day one. I'm going to tell you right now, somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 catches, 873 yards, and 12 touchdowns. And I did say 12 touchdowns. I'm sorry. If Robert Tonyan can catch 10 from Aaron in a year, Conklin can damn sure get 12. That's all there is to it. As far as, the other tight ends, I mean, Kuntz is a nice story. Rodgers called him out, but I mean, come on. Rodgers mentions everybody from the weight room guys to the janitors. Like that. That's he just he likes to include everybody. I'm not going to get caught up in the preseason. Who looks good in shorts? Yeboah, yes, he's looking good this preseason. Yeboah to me is like the David Clowney of tight ends. He shows out in the preseason, and then when the year rolls around, he disappears. The only real question mark for me there is going to be Rucker. Like, I don't think people realize how good of a pass catcher he really is. Like when you looked at Ohio State's championship, Ruckert had a huge catch in that game. Like he's a better catching the ball than people give him credit for.
Yep.
I want to see him take that next step. Like Conklin, solid number one. You know what? He's actually had better. Like I remember last year, I can't remember the game. Maybe it was going into the Houston game, and I was watching TV, and they said Tyler Conklin leads the NFL in catches for first downs. And I was like, wow, as crappy as we are, that's impressive. And anytime I hear Conklin's name, I just remember him rumbling down the field with like 6 Denver Broncos on his back, and the guy just wasn't going down. Like Conklin's my boy. But yeah, I want to see if Ruckert can take the next step. That's the other guy's kind of an afterthought for me. I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm just being real. But that's where I'm at with that room.
Yeah, so I have one more question for you guys before I let you guys go, and then I'm going to wrap up the show. But a name that recently came out of retirement, a former Jet, Corey Davis. Corey Davis is a very interesting name that he kind of he left last year, and then he's now back. He's not on the New York Jets roster. Johnny, how do you feel about the possibility of bringing Corey Davis back as a training camp body?
So I have a big thing about Corey Davis. Like I'm intrigued to see. Hold on one second, guys.
You're good.
With Corey Davis, right? I like Corey Davis. I'm one of the few people that likes Corey Davis. I know people have said that, the stuff that he hasn't done for us, the amount he got paid for, blah, 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 etc. There's a lot more to the story that's not being told. I think the stuff that happened to his brother really affected him. The stuff that was going him from being here and his wife and family being so far and being in the spotlight of New York, I think that did a lot for his mental health, right? I would love to have him back, but he's been out for a full year. We have to see what he is. I think Dano brought it up and said about maybe stashing him in the practice squad. That would be an amazing problem to have. A caliber of a wide receiver like that. But for him, the biggest thing is he could block, man. So I'm torn between this one because, again, it goes to what I was talking about Simmons, right? When these players are let go or put on there or whatever, what's the real reasoning behind it? Like, was there a dispute and he was pissed because they were going to go ahead and not pay him enough, right? And that was the reasoning behind it? Or did he not just, or was this something else that we don't know about?
Yeah, I 100% agree. And he's been out for a long time, so you don't really know what to expect out of a guy like Davis. That's why I kind of want to bring him in, if he was willing to, kind of as a training camp body. See what he has. See how the Jets look at him compared to pieces like we've mentioned earlier, like Irv Charles, like Malik Taylor, and even how he stacks up against maybe Alan Lazard, who has played football year in and year out, but really has not showed it on that contract that he's with. But Ricky, how do you feel about this Corey Davis situation?
Hey, Ricky, real quick before you go on that, real quick with the Lazard thing. Alan, everybody knows who Alan is, right?
I love Alan. Yeah.
All right, so he watches Iowa football like super hard, and he said the same thing about Lazard of what he did. And I went back to see just to see if he was BSing, and he was not. He would drop crap load of balls over there, and he did the same shit where he would give up on routes. So just think about that, guys. Like Ricky, I agree with you on your take on that. It's unforgiving. You don't do that shit because you could get another player hurt by not doing that.
Yeah, exactly. The Corey Davis thing is an interesting one for me because I'm like Johnny. I like Corey Davis. I still remember rookie year Zach Wilson, waving Corey to go deep, and he hits him with that bomb, like when
Against
we
the
still
Titans.
thought that Zach might actually be a quarterback, which it turned out he wasn't. And I know that Davis has had some drops, but dude, I honestly think that has to do more with him being thrown balls that weren't catchable, but by our bum quarterbacks than it was him. And I always go back to that game against the Browns. At the end of the game, and we've only got a couple seconds left, and he runs this route, and it looks like he's breaking for the sideline, which is what you would expect a guy to do in that situation. And then he double moves Denzel Ward and goes deep and catches that bomb from Flacco. And it's like, that is a savvy, good veteran wide receiver. And he knew to do that because the week before, the Panthers burned Denzel Ward on the exact same play, and he fell for it 2 weeks in a row. But that's film study. That's being a savvy veteran wide receiver. And as much as I like Corey Davis, I'm going to have to say hard pass because, dude, I mean, I watched it with Tevin Smith was a stud linebacker for the Jaguars who just walked away from the game for mental health issues. You don't really know what's going on with him, why he stepped away. But if I've learned anything from being a Jets fan, I learned from Le'Veon Bell. You can't step away from the game for a full year and come back and be your old self. And nothing against him. I really like Corey Davis, but being gone for a year and also just not knowing where his mental state is, it would be a nice story if he came back. But I'm going to have to err on the side of caution with this one and say hard pass on Davis for those reasons.
Yeah, I can respect both sides of each story on why people would want Davis to come back and kind of have a tryout, if you will. And then I understand why people would be like you, Ricky, and you have good reasons. Like Le'Veon Bell, Jets fans saw it firsthand when Le'Veon Bell came in. Longest rush with the Jets, I think it's 11 yards he was his longest rush in his 2-year stint, 2 years, I think it was, 2-year stint with the Jets. But Ricky, Johnny, I'm going to wrap up the show here. Really appreciate you guys joining me. You guys got any final thoughts? Let's go over to Johnny first.
Le'Veon Bell, great comp because it's the truth. Like it's that PTSD that we have, unfortunately. Connor, man, thank you for having us up here. I wanted to come up here and show you some love and whatnot and talk a little bit some Jets football. Ricky, always a pleasure, man. I always look forward to your calls on how insightful they really are. So I appreciate it a lot. Other than that, man, the season needs to start. I can't wait. What a 14-3. 14-3.
Manifest it, baby.
Look at the schedule. And then compare rosters to rosters. And then you're going to be like, damn, that Johnny, he's fucking nuts. Yeah, I appreciate you guys, man.
Of course, appreciate you joining, Ricky. What do you got?
You know what? I'm just behind Johnny. I'm going to go 13 wins, but I mean, 13 years, no playoffs. Jordan Travis was number 13. His team won 13 games. I mean, the number 13 just keeps coming up. Like when I'm at work, like order number 13 will come up. Like 13 just keeps coming up everywhere. So I'm sticking with my number of 13. Good stat on Lev. So that means as a New York Jet, Dalvin Cook actually had a longer rush than Le'Veon Bell during their tenure as Jets. That's an interesting stat that you threw out there that I caught. But you know what? I'm looking forward to this year. This is going to be our year. Everything is in place. I just can't wait for the season to get started. 99 more days. Jets football.
99 more days. Manifest it, guys. Can't thank you enough for joining me. Everyone, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to smash that like button on the way out. Thank you, Dano. I really appreciate it. Everyone, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, smash that like button. And as always, JTS, Jets, Jets, Jets.